Welcome to Sunday Springboard with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women regain their confidence and thrive after toxic relationships. I'm happy to be with you today, and I hope that you're learning things from the things I'm sharing with you. I love learning and I love sharing it. I talked with someone this morning who said that she watches it and she gets a lot out of it. And she doesn't comment. And so I was really glad to have that interaction with her, to know that she actually does get something out of it. If you're enjoying and learning, shoot me a message, put it in the comments or just somewhere and say, hey, I like what you're teaching. It's helping me and I'm enjoying it. Meanwhile, I'm just going to keep on doing it, and I'm going to hope that I am helping you. Let me share my screen with you. All right. So have you ever met someone and it seems like you hit it off really good, and you do a lot of texts and social media and comments back and forth, but then nothing else happens beyond that? Or have you had someone constantly saying, oh, I want to get to know you, I want to spend time with you, I want to be with you, and nothing happens? Do you make plans and those plans just fall through? They never happen? You may have been being breadcrumbed, like Hansel and Gretel. Now, if you're asking yourself, what does breadcrumbing mean, and how can I tell if I'm being breadcrumbed in a relationship? The sad news is, first of all, if you're being breadcrumbed, you're not in a relationship. Sorry about that. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not in a relationship. Now, if you've read the story of Hansel and Gretel as a child, you remember the story. The witch, in this case, would be your romantic interest, or even maybe just your match on Tinder, lures Hansel and Gretel, which is you, into her lair with the lure of the sweets. This for you could be random texts with heart emojis at 2 a.m. in the morning, all kind of mixed signals. These mixed messages are there to keep you hooked. Because most of us, we are used to knowing clear signs of interest and disinterest. And if we see that someone's not interested, we're going to pull back. But when we get faced with these confusing signals, push and pull and on and off, when we get a lot of attention, then we don't get any at all, our brains get tricked and we create a story. And this story, this relationship that seems like it's good, kind of, sort of, that it's eventually going to turn into what we want. That when things change, this other person gets it together, maybe things slow down for them at work because they're just so busy they can't do this. This usually does not ever happen, because breadcrumbing is actually an emotional manipulation. The definition of breadcrumbing is the act of sending out flirtatious but non-committal social signals in order to lure romantic partners in without expending much effort. It's leading someone on. But breadcrumbing is a distinctive way of leading someone on. This person usually communicates just enough, just often enough, breadcrumbing, to make you feel like that this is an actual relationship, to keep you interested, but not enough for it to actually turn into a true relationship. They'll reach out enough to give you the idea that you're in an authentic relationship, but you just keep feeling hungry for more. Today, we want to talk about what are some signs of breadcrumbing, what are some examples of it, and what are the red flags that come from this? What are some explanations for some of the reasoning, their reasoning? What can be your response and what can be your next steps? So some signs of breadcrumbing. This is one of the big ones, is that plans constantly fall through. This is the old schedule and cancel strategy. So maybe they make you believe they generally want to see you. They may actually plan the date, and then just something magically happens and they can't make it. Something just keeps popping up. But no one is really that busy, especially if they are truly romantically interested in you. Another thing could be that the plans are just always vague. They're just always talking about wanting to get with you, and be with you, and we should do this and we should do that, but the plans just never materialize. And this always leaves you feeling confused, right? They're here, they're there, they're not. One minute you think they're the real deal, the next minute you're wondering, have they forgotten you even exist? And once the confusion goes down a little, you start maybe feeling some anger, some frustration, you don't understand this. Our communication is just all up in the air. Nothing is happening. You're getting these mixed signals. There's one thing worse than getting mixed signals with a person on one-on-one. It's doing it through text. Because sometimes you think, maybe I misunderstood what they said. Maybe it's me and not them. So this person might go dark and then they randomly pop up in your social media like a whack-a-mole. And then they're gone again. And the thing is, here's the sad, simple truth. There are really no mixed signals. They're signals that we deliberately let ourselves misinterpret these to help our ego. Instead of continuing to lie to ourselves, it'd be better to understand that that other person is not truly interested in us. Do y'all remember the movie, He's Just Not That Into You? Sometimes it hurts, but maybe it's better just to realize they're no longer interested. And that's okay. People lose interest all the time, and people have their own journeys. Instead of trying to decide, figure out the whys and the hows and all, maybe just accept we're all on our different journeys, and sometimes that journey involves disappointing someone else. It might be better not to spend so much of our own energy on this. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Another sign would be that everything is just all style and no substance. You're texting, you might have even gone out for a few times, but you don't feel like you know them any better now than you did at the beginning. Everything is just shallow on the top surface, and you don't feel like they want to know you, or that they want you to know them, and they don't. They don't want that deeper connection, because that would take more time and effort than they're really interested in putting out. So some examples, maybe you're just always texting and DMing all the time, never anything real in real life. Maybe they comment all the time on your social media posts, they like and comment, but again, not much beyond that. Maybe they're always sending you all these heart emojis and kisses and memes, all of these things that make you feel happy and feel maybe loved, but they're still just surface. They're not anything really of any substance. Maybe you actually do meet them, and maybe they're attentive to you in person, and they're flirty, but then nothing happens after that. And your communication is inconsistent. Maybe when you text them, they don't respond to you, but then they'll send you a Snapchat. So it may be all on their whim, and they don't respond to you. Again, those ambiguous plans. They make the plans, but then nothing ever happens. And it feels like one day they're all in, they're all with you, and then the next day they're all gone. It's just always confusing and inconsistent. Maybe they're only interested in sex. And then when you question this, when you try to find out what's going on, where's the relationship going, is it going anywhere, and you kind of want to just let me know, I just want an answer, then they make you feel guilty. They blame you. You're the one who is responsible for any bad actions on their part. All of these lead to the red flags. And so some of these red flags are that they're really just less invested in getting together than you are. They're not really interested. They're too busy for you. If someone is too busy for you, they're not really interested in you, because you're not too busy for someone that you're really interested in. And then again, you never know where you stand with them. If you try to find out, then they get mad and angry, and they're unpredictable and they're inconsistent, and it's just frustrating. They might seem warm to you and then cold, and you can't understand or explain their reactions. You're just left confused and frustrated. And here are some examples, some explanations of what could be the reasoning behind the breadcrumber. First of all, maybe they just feel better about themselves. They have someone making the effort toward them, or they feel better having someone here. They may be doing this to many different people, but they need all the attention, they need the validation from others, they need all the constant reassurance that they're important, that they're valuable, that people are interested in them. And of course, this leads to the idea that they very likely, not always, don't have to be, but they definitely could be narcissistic. So we know that narcissists have to have the validation and attention from the outside. They can't find it for themselves. And they have no empathy. So they don't care if they're hurting your feelings. They don't care if they're playing with your emotions. They're fine with the game playing. They're just going to do what makes them feel better in the relationship. And they're not going to really care if they're hurting you when they're doing it. Now, some people, if they have insecurity and loneliness, this could actually make them or lead to them doing the breadcrumbing without them realizing it. And if that is the case here, and you suspected this, and then you confront them on it, and then if that's it, and then they'll change. And then you can have a relationship, and you can look at how they respond to help you know whether that's the purpose or whether they don't really care. Another thing could be they could already be in a relationship. This could be before they met you. This could be after they met you. And maybe they're not sure whether this other relationship is going to go well or not. And they may be afraid that they don't want to be alone. They want to keep you in the wings. They want to keep you as the backup. And so they're keeping you around just in case this other one doesn't work out. Now, the thing that's the worst of all this is someone who does this on purpose. And some people do. They do it on purpose. They don't care. They don't have any kind of guilt or shame about it. They're just doing this all on their own, for their own benefit, and they don't care about you. If you decide the person that is coming at you from that viewpoint, then you're probably going to want to do this. So first of all, you've seen this graphic before. We had this a couple weeks ago where he said what you want to do is confront them with the facts, you get some answers, and probably what you should do is run fast, run far. Maybe not. Maybe you still got to decide for yourself, are they truly doing this, or are things just happening? And one of the things you can do to figure out whether this person you're talking to is serious or not is ask them on a date, an actual physical one-on-one date. Breadcrumbers tend to keep things distant by doing it on social media, other digital communication platforms, technology. If they can't commit, then you just want to keep it moving. You might want to delete and move on. Now, not everyone is comfortable with this, and like I said, you kind of have to decide what's going on here before you might feel comfortable here. But let me give you a few examples, a few ideas that might help you along. So chances are this person you've just met recently. You met them, things kicked off, and then it cooled down and you went into this kind of craziness. And so you don't at this point probably have a whole lot of time and love and heart invested in them. But yet you have enough that if you just let things go without deleting, without moving on, blocking, if they do try to come back at you with this breadcrumbing, you might find it hard to ignore them, even if you've decided that you should. And that may keep you from moving on with your life. And this is not a judgment. We often find it hard from moving on from a relationship that seems like it would be good if it could just if it could just happen. We have this hope that someday this relationship is going to change, and that person is going to change, and when things get going in the right direction, it's going to be that one that we want. And here's a spoiler: it's not ever going to happen. They're not that into you. They're not interested, or they would be acting differently. So why prolong the inevitable when you can just delete them off your social media and move on? Now, if you want to talk to them about it, you can, but just know that, especially if they're a narcissist, they're just probably going to lie to you. So what are some better next steps? First of all, know your worth. Realize what you want out of a relationship, and that you deserve more. You deserve better than being strung along. Now, tapping into your self-worth might be hard, but you really, for any relationship, you really want to be whole in yourself, feel good about yourself, realizing that the breadcrumbs aren't worth your time. And some things you can do here, you can engage in some activities that you do well that will help you feel better. You can be active with friends, be active in service, all these things I've talked with you about before. Make your other connections that lift you up and encourage you. And then you're not so needy on this romantic relationship, so that you can step back a little bit and be a little more critical and discerning about it. Engage in self-care, use positive self-talk. You can, if you want, if you feel strong, address the behavior in the person, give them a chance to change their behavior, and then if they choose not to, you know not to take them seriously. So decide what you want. What do you want in a relationship? Think about what would it mean to you if you dated someone who is available. What do you see as an acceptable relationship that will make you feel happy and feel like they truly care about you? You want to define what you deserve in a healthy relationship. And that might be hard to do, and you might want someone to help you work this out. And there's a link in the show notes. You can schedule a free coaching session with me. We could talk and see where you want to go with this and how it would feel for us to have a coaching relationship. So if you can do this, you can discern what you need, what you want, what you deserve. You're much more likely to find a partner who's a better match for you. Once you recognize what's going on, you can decide how much you want to participate, whether you're serious or not. If you are looking for a serious relationship, then this breadcrumbing person is probably not going to work for you. But if you're not really ready for serious and you're enjoying the flirting and you're okay with it just being this little shallow minor flirtation thing, that's fine. Go for it, enjoy it, but just realize how much energy you're putting out and whether this is truly making you have a good time or whether it's making you anxious and frustrated. If it's the latter, feel free to block. Another thing you can do is start setting healthy boundaries. If you're thinking you're still working on maybe doing this relationship, you have to be direct. Now, some of us have trouble being direct because we're afraid we're going to make the other person mad. They're going to decide that they don't want to be around us. They're going to leave. And I have to say, if that person is not willing to listen to you, share your wants and your needs, and they're just going to get mad and leave, is that the kind of person you want to be with anyway? So be direct. If something they're doing is making you feel uncomfortable, pushing your boundaries, be clear. And then if they don't respect your boundaries, they're probably not interested in a real or healthy relationship. Being direct will only make their true intentions come clear. So another thing is to push back, break the unhealthy patterns before they start. If they get defensive, if they make you feel guilty, they blame you for their behaviors, call them out on this. Now, this is going to either lead to honest conversation and progress in the relationship, or it can prove to you that this relationship is not going anywhere and this person is not taking this seriously. Either way, you've got more information and you can make a choice that's in your best interest. So consider what your boundaries are and then take action. If you decide that this person is not who you want to be with, you're probably going to want to unmatch them off of your app if that's how you got to them, block their phone number, whatever way you've been communicating, you might just want to block and delete. So in order to avoid disappointment and heartbreak, you need to understand your own self-worth, understand what you want out of the relationship, and then set healthy boundaries. So the breadcrumbing can be harmless, it can be fun and flirtatious if both of you are aware of what's going on and both of you are enjoying it. But if it's not, if you're wanting more and they're just playing with you, then you're probably going to want to take steps to end that relationship. All right, I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a great week. If you want some help, set up a coaching call. If you've missed my past videos, you can watch all of them on my YouTube channel. The link to that is also in the show notes. And I hope you have a great week.